Hey, so here I am. Notice I got my glasses on today. I'll take these off. So, what I wanted to say today was something about loving yourself. Yeah, so this is kind of an interesting topic just from the standpoint that typically, I guess culturally, when people think about self-love, they think about being conceited or being self-centered or something like that. But true self-love is actually getting connected with who you are and getting rid of all of your own judgments of yourself so that you actually approve of yourself, which is actually the antithesis of self-conceit or even narcissism. I guess narcissism is probably, that actually is the definition, or narcissism is self-love from a psychological standpoint, but it's the type of self-love in which actually somebody who practices or is narcissistic, practices narcissism or is narcissistic, it's a psychological problem that's due to insecurities, really. And the self-love that I'm talking about is actually becoming very secure in yourself because you actually love yourself. And what it does is it gives you compassion for other people, because the better or the more that you can love yourself, the more in tune you are with your own internal dialogue, your own emotions, and the feelings within your core that make you who you are. And by getting in touch with that, by having identified with what it is that's coming up within you, that you realize are feelings that you need to let go and that kind of thing, you can gradually, over time, begin to love yourself more and more and more. And as you love yourself more, you begin to love other people more, because what happens is you develop compassion. You develop a compassion for yourself and a forgiveness of yourself that actually allows you to forgive and have compassion of others. So, why am I bringing this up now? Because really, this is something that's pretty simple to actually identify how much you actually love yourself. All you really got to do is look in the mirror, look into a mirror, and look into your left eye. And the reason the left eye is important is because that tends to be your more, the left side of your brain is more emotional, and so and more unconscious. It's in tune more with the unconscious side of your brain. So if you look into your left eye, which I guess would be this eye when you're looking in the mirror. This is my right eye, really, but for you, when you're looking in the mirror, that would be your left eye. And as you look into that left eye, right into the pupil, tell the person in the mirror, I fully love you and I deeply accept you. Or I deeply love you and I fully accept you. And see what comes up. See if can you continue to look in your eye in the mirror as you say it, without flinching, without blinking. Just look into that mirror, into that eye, and say this, and try to say it with conviction. I deeply love you and accept you. Now, what I noticed is when I did this, first of all, it didn't feel very comfortable when I first started doing that. And I noticed that I felt a reaction actually inside my chest, or a sensation in my chest, in my gut, that just told me that this doesn't feel comfortable. And that's that reaction that I got because I didn't really believe what I was saying to myself. So you may notice this when you do the same thing. When you look in the mirror and you say that to yourself in the mirror and try to say it with conviction, notice what kind of response your body gives you. And then tune into that response. Tune into the actual emotional response and where you feel the sensation in your body. And then notice that it's a resistance. Again, it's this type of resistance, like that clenching feeling. And when you get that resistance feeling, you can, once you've identified it, then you can begin to let it go through the releasing process. I feel this resistance. Can I let this resistance go? Can I let it go a little bit more? And a little bit more? And a little bit more? I still feel some resistance there. Can I let it go? Can I let it go a little more? And a little more? And just go through that and notice as you say this to yourself that resistance will dissipate, it will decrease. And then once you let go of the resistance to loving yourself, then you try doing it again, looking in the mirror and saying, I deeply love and fully accept myself. And then see if the resistance comes up again and see if it's not less than it was before. Now you can also practice doing the release technique with actually with loving yourself, using those words themselves. So, for example, you could say, can I let go of disapproving myself? Can I let go of disapproving of myself a little bit more? And a little bit more? And a little bit more? And then see what happens. Now, what I like to do sometimes, because I heard the word disapproving of yourself as part of the release technique that I originally learned, but what I notice is it's popular for people to say, don't judge me, right? And I think judging is probably the perfect word to actually use in this instance, because that's how people view it when they feel like other people are judging them. They don't say, don't disapprove of me. They say, don't judge me. And so you can bring that into your practice as well. You can say, because basically when you ask, when somebody says, don't judge me, what they're really doing is they're judging themselves, and they're saying that because they've already judged themselves, and they are projecting that judgment onto somebody else as if they're going to judge them the way they're judging themselves. So when you realize that that's actually what's going on, that the judgment is not really coming from somebody else, it's imagined, that person is imagining the other person judging them, either because of something that's happened in the past to them, or maybe somebody has judged them in the past, or they're just replaying an old record in their mind of something that happened to them in the past, or maybe some things that their parents said to them that's now a record that plays over and over and over. And so they feel the judgment on a daily basis because they are judging themselves, right? So you can say, can I let go of judging myself? Just in this moment, just right now, can I let go of judging myself just a little bit? And can I let go of judging myself a little bit more? And a little bit more? And a little bit more? and a little bit more. And then you just keep going through that process. Can I let go of judging myself? So as you practice that, the next part of it, of course, is as you're feeling yourself letting go of judging yourself, you can go back to the loving yourself. Can I love myself? Or can I approve of myself? I like love because it's a little stronger than approve. But, either way, can I love myself just a little bit right now, in this moment? Just for this moment, can I approve of myself right now? And can I love myself a little bit more? Or can I approve of myself a little bit more? Can I love myself even more? And even more? And even more? And just practice that over and over again each day. Another thing that I find useful and I think is a lot more specific, which probably actually enhances the effect, is to pick a feature of yourself that you don't like. I have a pretty big schnoz, and for a long time growing up, that was something that I was very self-conscious about. And so a simple thing would be to say, can I love my nose? And can I love it a little bit more and a little bit more? Or if there's something, basically, it doesn't even have to be a physical feature. I mean, if you pick a physical feature on your body, that's good, and you can work through that. Some people in general just don't like their bodies, this comes from people that are even very, could be very beautiful people physically from other people's perspective, but when they look at themselves, they don't see themselves the same way as other people see them when it comes to the physical appearance, perhaps. And so they criticize themselves for maybe little things that other people don't even notice. And you can pick that feature and use that as something to release on by saying, can I love this, whatever it is, just a little bit, just right now? And then continue to do that. Can I love it a little more? Can I love that a little bit more? And so on. So as I'm making this video, I'm actually having this cold sore on my lip that I'm not too thrilled about. But that's something that I've even done with that, where it's like, can I love this bump on my lip? I don't really like it, but can I love it? And maybe at first the reaction is, no, I can't love it. It's disgusting. I don't like it. It's a part of a virus that I really don't want in my body. So then there's that resistance, right? That resistance comes up. But as I do the releasing, it opens up. As I release on that by loving it and just asking myself, can I love it just for this moment? I'm not asking anything real big. Just for this moment, can I love this bump on my lip? Can I love it maybe a little bit more? Or a little bit more? And maybe a little bit more. And just do that until the anxiety, the disgust, the aversion, the dislike of whatever it is, whatever aspect it is about yourself that you typically are not too thrilled about, as that dissipates and you begin to accept yourself more and more. You begin to accept those aspects of you that previously you would think about, maybe even with shame. You may have had shame about those parts of your body or that aspect of yourself, or just aversion to it, either because you've seen reactions from other people to you or to certain things about you, or just because somehow you've internalized certain things. Maybe you got bullied or picked on when you were a little kid, and something from that, when you're growing into your adolescent years, and maybe you were very large or very small in certain areas, that now it's totally different, but you have this wound, this scar that has come with you all these years. And so you're still self-conscious about it. And you can go ahead and do this release technique on that aspect of you that will help you to appreciate it. Not only just not be bothered by it anymore, but actually to appreciate it and to love it, regardless of what it is. Because, I guess this might be a good time for a little story. I was reading this book called The Art of Seduction, which is actually a fascinating read. And there was one part in this book where it referred to a man back, I think, during the French Renaissance days. I can't remember the name of the person, but what was interesting about this guy is that he was very hideous. He was, by any empirical thought of beauty, or any empirical measurement of beauty, he would have been considered just ugly, really ugly physically. And apparently he was somewhat of an advisor to certain people who were in high ranks and like moneyed type of people. And so he would work with the men and talk to them about these kinds of things. And then they would leave their women, whether they were their girlfriends, fiance, or wives, with him. And they didn't have any concern about him because the guy was so ugly. They were like, this guy, I have no worry about my wife hanging out with him. And at first, women looking at him would just not really have any positive thought about him at all. But there was something about him, something about his way, the way he could talk when he was around women, that they started fawning all over him. They loved the way he spoke, and he would basically seduce these women into their beds, or into his bed. And of course the men around them were clueless. They didn't realize that was going on with this guy. But this was somebody who, pretty much from a physical standpoint, people thought he was just disgusting to look at. And so they figured that, what harm could come from this guy. And when it all came down to is the dude he knew how to seduce women. So why do I bring this up? Because a lot of times we look at ourselves and we have this perspective of ourselves based on our physical appearance. That's just our own criticism of ourselves. We judge ourselves so harshly. And it's actually that judgment of ourselves that puts off a vibe or an energy that other people can feel. And when they feel that negative energy coming out of you because you're self-conscious about some aspect of yourself, that is what actually turns people off. But if you're totally comfortable with yourself, if you actually love yourself in every aspect of yourself and realize that there's no perfect human being on this planet. Everybody has something that's not quite right with them, whether it's physically or emotionally or mentally or whatever. But if you can be real, if you can be authentic, if you can be positive and you actually love yourself and your body and you just have this energy that is out there, positive, that other people enjoy, It doesn't matter. I mean, that's really what it comes down to, is having that confidence within yourself that no matter what, I love myself, and there's no reason why other people shouldn't love me too, because I know what a great person I am because of the love that I have for myself. And it isn't that you're conceited in that, but what that does is when you fully love yourself, what you're doing is you want to spread love to other people. Other people feel that love coming from you, and it attracts them to you. It draws them to you. It's almost effortless, because you really don't have to do anything than just be the loving person you are, and that lovingness comes from loving yourself. So instead of projecting the fear or the anxiety of somebody seeing that you have a big nose and that they might criticize you, or they might think I'm ugly, or or you're ugly, or whatever, what you do is you feel this love inside you, and it just spills out. And so you're projecting love instead of projecting insecurity. And that is the magic of this work, is that you become loving of yourself, and that love ends up flowing out of you to others. Okay, enough about all this lovey-dovey stuff. Over and out. Or not.